Good morning, everybody. I'm David with Nelson Creek Farms, coming to you from a currently very beautiful, slightly cool 14th of February. So, I guess happy Valentine's Day to all those of you with a Valentine. So what we're doing today is part one of building a garden here in the yard at the farm. So if you're interested in gardening and how I do it, stay tuned and keep watching, because there's going to be a lot of work we got to do before we can actually put seeds in the ground. One of the first things we need to do is finish disassembling this east-west facing fence. And we're going to extend it from the corner here behind me in this lilac bush out towards the north driveway and enclose this whole garden area eventually, is what the game plan is. But before we can do this, I've got something else I got to do. There's a pipe that drops down here and runs underground over to this low spot right here where we can tie onto it with poly pipe. So what we're going to do is, from that low spot where that pipe terminates by the pump house, is we're going to use Stinky and dig a trench straight across over towards the corner of the garage there, which is kind of in line with the corner of where the fence is going to go. And we're going to use Stinky to do it in a subsoiler. So we're going to dig that trench or rip it with a subsoiler. Then I can go back later, dig it out by hand, and bury some poly pipe in it. But before I can do that, I need to get rid of this garden hose that's hanging here on the fence. Undo all these little miniature incandescent lights out here that are real pretty when there's snow on the ground at night and it's quiet. And we got to remove some of these rails and maybe a post or two, so we can go from over here by the pump house over that way towards the garage with Stinky, ripping a trench to dig out later to bury some pipe in. Okay, we're going to have to kind of move along and get this done today rather quickly, because it looks like the storm they're predicting for today is coming in. So we will proceed to lift this post up and out. Something kind of like that. Yeah. For all of you new subscribers, this little tractor is what we affectionately call Stinky. It is the farm's 8N Ford. It burns a little bit of oil, thus the nickname. So, we're gonna get that ripper down about there. I don't dare back up anymore for fear of going over the edge and down into the hole. And yeah, I think we got everything set. So give Stinky a little bit of gas and we'll start ripping a trench. It would probably help if I were to actually lower the thing down into the ground. Oops. Okay, now we'll lower it down into the ground, give it a little gas, and that way. For the most part, I think I did all right, and we'll come along later with a trenching shovel and clean this out before we lay any poly pipe in there. The paneled fence that's going to come out here will come out about right in here and then head across, boxing in this area of the apple orchard here. And I also want to run a line from here over to the corner of the shed or the barn somewhere, put a hydrant in over there so I can water the show area over there with pond water instead of running drinking water all the time or having to drag hoses 10 miles. Like I said though, that line will come next. I just wanted to get this trench put in so I could shovel it out, so I could put up the fence panels and kind of get that project started today. For those of you that haven't seen what I call a trenching shovel, it's one of these. It's basically just a dirt shovel with a real narrow blade on it to make just a trench. Yeah, a little point on it that needs to actually be sharpened up a little bit. But yeah, that's what they call it, and that's what I'm going to use to clean out that trench that I just made with Stinky and the subsoiler. I'm going to start up here in the driveway just to show you how it works and what it does do with a trench. Even though I've run a subsoiler through here with Stinky, that helped break up the ground if it was frozen, although I don't think the ground is really frozen that much anymore. Just after a few minutes worth of work, here's what I have. Yeah, I've got 6-8 feet of that trench cleaned out. It just kind of gives you an idea what it looks like. Yeah, just big enough to run a piece of inch poly through there. One of the other things I need to do in the next day or so is get this pump totally disconnected and out of here and in, so I can get a new seal put in there between the motor and the pump itself. It's leaking there or between the two housings on the pump. And while that's apart, I'm going to pull this filter assembly out of here, and we're just going to run new pipe down in the ground and over. And I don't know if I'll leave that 1.5 inches or if I'll reduce that down to 1 3/4 inches. The reason why that is 1.5 inch pipe is because right here in that low spot that I was mentioning earlier, my son and I were going to put a valve box in here to run sprinklers off of a timer over to the garage and then to the barn. Well, I don't mind chasing a handle now and then to turn things on and off. So, yeah, that'll probably be relocated more over here in line with the trench and probably smaller pipe. I ran out of toilet paper the other day, and the only thing I could get my hands on was a box of dryer sheets. Well, I'll tell you what, my backside now smells like lavender. There isn't any more static Klingons hanging on. And for the first time in 20 years, my old backside is wrinkle-free. Yeah. Well, I've got some of the screws out now, and yeah, the fence's panel is coming loose. It's an 8-foot panel made up of 4-inch wide, 6-foot long dog-eared cedar that came pre-built. I'm going to have to compare the pre-built price to what I can build it for price and see which way I go. However, like most of us, money is time, and I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of stuff anymore for various reasons. So we are going to see which way is best for me to attack this. But these panels that I've pulled loose are going to run north now to the end of this grass area where I'm standing. And this is either going to become part of the garden, or it might be a chicken run. So let me know what you think in the comments down below there. Chicken run, or garden, or a combination. It's about a 40-foot square area. So yeah, let me know. Because the screw head is stripped on the screw that is currently holding the panel to that 4x4 post, I've got to lift the whole thing up out of the ground. So, LS tractor to the rescue again. think we're loose all the way around everywhere else except for right here. So, yeah. We'll just tilt this up, lift it up, and get it out of here and pull the rest of the post, and we'll have this one done. Oh yeah, something kind of like that, baby. Alrighty, here we go. We'll get this panel out of here and we'll put it somewhere where I can get to it and use it. Now, because that fence post was right here on the edge, yeah, it was right here on the end of this because of the 90-degree corner, I'm going to have to move that over 2 inches that way so that I can use that one 4x4 to attach both of these panels to. Well, here goes the first panel into the side here that's come out of the main deal. As you all know, tax season is starting to come up, and I'm no different. I have to pay taxes again this year. So I stopped by my local accountant that I go to with all my papers and everything to turn into him to do up my tax forms for the year. Well, while I was sitting in his waiting room waiting to talk to him, I saw this sign hanging on his wall. It said, and I quote, "A fine is a tax for doing wrong, but a tax is a fine for doing well. So no matter which way they go, the government's got you coming and going." Yeah. Well, as you can see, I'm a little bit off. I got a high spot right here I need to dig out to drop the fence down. There's a big old pile of dirt of some sort right here, compost, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'm going to go ahead and dig this down, level it up so that this will come over and butt up here. Screw it together, finish setting in the post and whatnot for this first of several panels to go across here. And I'm going to call it good for the day, and I'll leave you folks all here with that for right now. Yeah, I don't want to bore you to death watching me put in a fence panel. So anyway, from Farmer Dave to you, y'all have a good one. Behave, be kind, and be courteous to your fellow inhabitants of the planet. Only if you feel like it, and they deserve it. So anyway, we'll catch up with you in the next one. And thank you for watching part 1 of converting my backyard into a large garden. Thank you again for subscribing, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye now.